that Leeds are not going to sign a single person. And
Absolutely not.
like we all know that the season is done in
Yeah,
the
we might
second
as well
week of
just all
July.
pack up. Let's
Yeah,
sell
let's give in.
every item of Leeds memorabilia back on eBay or Etsy or Vinted and stuff, because it's just not worth being a Leeds fan anymore.
This thing down from the wall. We
Absolutely.
might as well
See,
have not gotten promoted
I have
because what's
I
what's
have
what's the point?
Bielsa in my hand right here. So yeah, just sell them all. Doesn't even matter
Get
anymore.
rid.
We're clearly getting relegated.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to the stream. We figured we were planning on doing a stream anyway ahead of the Creator Cup to sort of talk about that and to talk about everything. And today we were sort of having a chat like, what are we going to talk about? Are we going to talk about the Dan James thing? Are we going to talk about the ongoing not many transfers thing? Are we going to talk about anything? And thankfully, nicely coincidentally, what a good guy David Ornstein has released an article in the last few minutes stating that Leeds United have reached an agreement in principle to sign Sean Longstaff from Newcastle United. Before I get into what the article specifically says, because I've not actually had a chance to read it yet, but I will do in a moment. Evie, how are you doing? How's things? What's going on?
All good, all good. Just slowly getting better and shimizzle like that. Yeah, it's. I know that people will probably hate me, but I am glad it's cooled down just a couple of degrees. Just because sleeping on a night time with we've had to buy fans for all of the kids' bedrooms, which I also feel strangely resentful because I'm like, you have no idea how lucky you are. I used to just have to swim in a bath of sweat when I was a child and things like that. So, yeah, I feel a lot better now that it's a little bit cooler. And also my dogs are appreciating that it's a little bit cooler as well because they were struggling. So yeah, it's all good here, yeah.
All good in the hood.
Yeah.
I'm gonna do in the hood. Yeah, I think we're both cool enough to say that actually.
I am
So
so
it's
gangster
completely
right
fine.
now.
What do you mean? You're always so gangster. And whatever. Anyway, very quick skim of the article in the last like 30 seconds. Says that there isn't anything particularly new that we weren't hugely aware of. So the offer that we put in, which was the third proposal on the 7th of July, that was 10 million quid plus 2 million quid in add-ons that got denied. Apparently that was close to the limit we were willing to pay. There were other candidates that we were considering, but if we couldn't complete Longstaff, then we just go somewhere else. However, that has now all been sorted through in what is reportedly our fourth bid. So we've not had to go for a fourth or a fifth. Well, we have gone for a fourth, but not 5, 6, 7, etc., etc., etc. And it's all done. Personal terms were already in place for the midfielder, who is into the final 12 months of his contract because he did a 12-month extension last year, which, dickhead, we could have had you for free. But yeah, that's all of the sort of basics on the story. Let's have a little bit of a chat about how are you feeling on this?
Well, we got a signing ahead of Sunderland, which is really nice because but let's face it, the only way that he was signing for us is he would never have signed for Sunderland, been a Newcastle person. I think that would have counted as treason. But yeah, I'm very pleased. I think it's not a glamorous signing, but I think it's the type of signing that we should have made the first and second year in the Premier League last time. By the time we got to the third season, it was too late, really, because we barely scraped it the second year. But I think he's had a hell of a lot of experience. He understands both the top, middle, and bottom of the Premier League in terms of Champions League, relegation fights. He understands both, and I think that's really difficult to find in a player. Usually have players who come into the Premier League and are constant top players, your Haaland, De Bruyne, even, oh gosh, why is his name gone from my head? No, runs like this.
Sterling,
that's the one.
There we go.
There we go. Exactly. That's all I had to do, and you understood exactly who I meant. But he's constantly been at that top level, even though in isolation he's not a world-class player, but he has been surrounded by world-class players pretty much his entire career. So I wouldn't want him in a relegation fight, whereas somebody like Longstaff, I think he seems like a really well-rounded player. And if you're going to take a risk on any player, you want them to either have experience and I've just seen what Paul's put.
I think at the moment Evie doesn't run for
No, I
logically
don't run.
required reasons.
I walk like that at the minute. But I just think he's a solid signing. He's not glamorous, but again, you add an EO on the end of his name, and all of a sudden people are salivating over a player who's had that much experience in the Premier League. So I'm very happy. I think that's a sensible signing. And for the next couple of years, I'm all right with sensible and not glamorous. So yeah, I'm very pleased. And we've clearly gone up a little bit, but we haven't been fleeced either. I also think 15 million for a player of his experience is probably about right. You know, I just think that the Premier League, the fact that he's English, all of these things add a load of extra tax on anyway. And fair enough, it's not just the big six that can make good negotiations in when somebody has in the last year of the contract. Like look at Harry Kane. And what Spurs got for Harry Kane, he was in the last 12 months of his contract, and you know they got tens of millions of pounds for a player who's coming to the absolute best years, teetering on that over side as well. So yeah, fair enough to another English club that isn't the big six getting a good amount of money for a player with 12 months left on their contract.
Yeah, and I think, like, on the topic of it not being the most exciting of signings, a lot of the times you need those because last season, going throughout it, you've got Tanaka, who, when he came in, a lot of people are like, I'm not too bothered about this. He's 3 and a bit million quid for something that we don't hugely understand yet, etc., etc. You've got Gruev, who we signed from, was it Werder Bremen? For not much money, and everyone's like, he's not a super exciting midfielder. Who knows how that one's going to go? And he turns out to be pretty damn effective at what he does. You've got Rothwell, who came in. Everyone was like, well, he couldn't really play for Southampton, so is he even going to get in our squad? And all of those combined added to a sort of midfield machine that was exactly what we needed, which was kind of nice. And it made sure that, like, even though all of those were, compared to other signings, low budget moves, there were low budget moves that did everything that you needed them to do. So,
yeah,
like, everyone that's saying that, I don't know how I phrase this. I saw a graph earlier that was a graph of the amount of money that all of the clubs in the Premier League have spent so far. And admittedly, we're towards the bottom. But you don't necessarily need to spend big to recruit well, is the spot that I'm in. And I think this is the perfect example of that. Like, again, another case that I'm using. Weston McKennie, if we would have had to assign him permanently, would have cost 10 times what Tanaka would. He would have been 35 million quid. And we ended up not going for it. And I think that was quite a clever move. So outside of the specific Longstaff thing, where I think we're both sort of in agreement that it's a pretty wise thing, it's a one that needs to happen. It adds a little bit of depth and a little bit of quality and a little bit of experience and everything. What's your sort of take on how the fans have been over the past few days? Because it's been interesting, hasn't it? It's been a little bit spicy. Also, before I do so, I've got a very quick update for Paul. The kit is getting delivered to my house in an hour and 12 minutes time.
Wow,
so it's very close.
That is specific.
Yeah, it's because it's already at the guy's house, but he finishes work at 9, has to go home and come to me, which will take like half an hour-ish. So half man is the thinking. Anyway, fan vibe. Where are we?
I'm not going to lie, I'm trying to ignore fans because unfortunately the majority well, no, not the majority, the loudest ones, so which is usually the minority, but the loudest fans are speaking out of their backside so often, and we're all passionate. We all absolutely love this club, love this sport, want to love the league that we're going into. We certainly romanticize it, whether it is what we want it to be, either, basically when I think of the Premier League, and obviously I wasn't a football fan really at the time, but when I've watched games, when I've spoken to relatives, friends who were huge football fans, the early 2000s was kind of the peak of football in terms of being able to watch it a lot more on the telly, being able to still have the atmospheres and the no holding back, the no kind of censorship, the watching football because you want to watch football, not because you're an accountant, not because you feel pressured into fitting into a certain type of person that one team's doing well, so therefore you have to support X team. I like supporting leagues. It is usually very bad for my health. Like, I'm not gonna lie, it's a poor choice for a healthy body and mind. But I love it and I want to keep the positivity. I've really missed football, and after obviously such a long season in the championship, it was nice for the first few weeks. Obviously, like after we got promoted, it was watching all of the promotion streams and the parade streams and the reaction and all of that and all that amazing excitement. And then we got to have a nice little break without anything, which was lovely. But now I'm really missing watching Leeds. But I'm still romanticizing what Leeds are going to be next season, because realistically, even the most positive fans know that we are not going to win the same amount of games. It's physically impossible because there's less games to play. So therefore it is genuinely impossible to win or at least gain points in the same amount of games that we did last season. But it's going to be difficult. It's going to be challenging. It's going to be exciting. And that's what I'm trying to hold on to, the excitement and the kind of being able to romanticize that if Bielsa had had these solid signings, the sensible signings, then maybe the story wouldn't have ended the way that it did. I'm not saying it still maybe wouldn't have ended, but it just wouldn't have ended in the same way, with us obviously getting the American in. And yeah, that football.
Yeah, bastard.
But I enjoy the sensible side of things. I enjoy that because I remember explaining it last year when Joe Wayman, we were having a little bit of a heated discussion, and I was saying that
you would never have.
I know, no, I would never have a heated discussion.
No.
I'm an absolute teddy bear. I don't do fierce kind of comebacks or anything like that. Definitely not. But I was in my own, I like to think of weird metaphors and analogies and things. But I was saying that the 49ers were basically having to go backwards and build the foundations, because what Radrizzani and Orta were doing were basically trying to buy these signings that they were going to turn into world beaters and glamorous. The name signings, they had all these fancy foreign names, which all, they sound incredible to say, and you want to have their name. Yeah, exactly. You want to have
Adams.
You want to have their names on the back of your shirt, but you don't necessarily want to have Longstaff on the back of your shirt. It's not a glamorous name. And that's very prejudiced if you think about it. But at the same time, that's what we were doing. No, but a lot of them had them on their heads.
Hey.
But hey, I I like the sense of stability that the 49ers are building. This is what the 1, 2, 3, 4. This is the 5th transfer window that we've had with them. We know they're going to be quiet. So I don't understand necessarily the big uproar in we're in a better position for signing players than we were in the Championship, but we're not in a stabilized mid-table Premier League team kind of position. So players will still either choose to have release clauses, choose to have ridiculous wages and release clauses, or they might choose to go to mid-table Premier League teams where they've got more stability and more like they're less likely to be in a relegation fight. I just Oh, that's really mean. Obviously, you're referring to the place and not the person. But yeah, I like the stability, and that may sound boring, but it is the genuine reason why I am confident of us staying up. And I'm not saying that we're going to do a Bielsa 2021 season and get to 9th, but I also think that this season is probably more competitive than the last 2 seasons have been in terms of, and again, Mr. Wayman doesn't like it when I say this because he says that I'm talking like a bit daft. But Manchester United, they're struggling to sign anybody. They're struggling to sell players as well. They're struggling to just do anything. So if they were struggling with the same things last season, why won't they be struggling this season?
But we've got to keep that bit quiet because then people will be mad. I'm going to have a quick look at what transfers they've actually made this season. Is anyone reasonable? Or no, they've done Cunha, and that's it. And an 18-year-old from Paraguay.
But they can't get Mbeumo over the line. They're desperately trying to loan or sell Rashford out, and he won't go anywhere. Obviously, Cunha's taken the number 10 shirt from Rashford, so he won't want to come back either because that's been his shirt number for the best, part of 5 years. All of these things. So, then you've got Brentford who have lost their manager. They know that they're going to love. They know that they're going to lose Mbeumo and Wissa, I think, as well. So then, and you've got a second. What's they call? What's the second guy in charge called? Why has my mind gone so blank?
Assistant manager?
Assistant manager is now their manager. So they're going through a huge transfer, transition. Then you've got West Ham, who were crap last season, and in any other season would have been in a proper relegation battle. You've got Crystal Palace, who were crap for the first half of last season, then did pick up, but they've got some form of European football. Obviously, it's changed. But there's a lot of teams that could be struggling to maintain Premier League stability because of the fact that they've got, their focus is split between a couple of different things. And then all the behind the scenes of teams struggling. Does anybody actually think that that Graham Potter's going to last at West Ham? I don't think he will. So there's lots lots of moving parts for way more than just the 3 bottom teams this season. So I think it'll be exciting. So that was an incredibly long-winded way of saying that I'm excited, and fans need to just maybe simmer down a little. I understand the passion, I understand the emotion, but I don't understand the narrative that people are so desperate to be right that they want to watch their team lose. And that's genuinely what some people sound like. They're so desperate to be correct and to be proven right that they want to see their team lose. I would rather hold my hands up 100 times over and say I was wrong if it meant that we were successful, because I want Leeds to be successful, because stupidly, Leeds being successful has an irrational bearing on my mental health. So I want Leeds to do well, regardless of whether my opinion or my prerogatives that my kind of guesses at the beginning of a season are going to be right. I just want us to do well. I want us to be competitive, which is something we barely did for the second 2 seasons last time in the Premier League. So yeah, when your obsession for being right overpowers how you want to view your team and how you want your team to succeed, you should stop watching football. Football is not for you anymore.
Yeah, I think you basically hit all of the nails on the head. It's like a stealth hammer thing.
It's like a dancing hammer.
That'll do.
It's like,
That's a little bit better than that.
Hammer and maracas all like rolled into one.
Hamaracas.
Yeah.
Hamaracas. Throughout that little bit of chat, I was just starring a few comments. I'm just going to go through them very, very quickly. On this, it was one of those where he said it in a press conference, but it was taken vastly out of the context that he said it. So the actual thing that he said was, in an ideal world, I'd have them all in by the start of pre-season. Because obviously every single manager in the world would quite like that, but no manager on the planet is going to get that. This isn't a case of needing to stay quiet on matters. It's a case of people online needing to stop taking people out of their context and effectively bullshitting about what they mean. I'm not saying that you're doing this. You might have heard from someone who is, but it's one of those where, like, let's pay attention to context a little bit more and understand what people are meaning to say rather than what we think they are saying in any particular context. It is only 4 days until we get to watch Leeds again. I'm going to do the very quick plug. Evie, what football match are you most excited to watch this weekend?
Oh my gosh, I think it's possibly the one on Sunday, the 20th of July.
It's the one on Sunday, the 20th of July. The one that is in Leeds, unlike the friendly that is happening in Stockholm for some reason. The one that anyone that is in the chat, if they live in Leeds or the surrounding areas, can attend by going to leedscreatorcup.com/buy-tickets. I think the link's down below. Yeah, get your tickets. Be massively appreciated. I have put so much work into this thing. I was sat on stream earlier sorting out some lanyards. That's the point that we're at this stage. So if you're available on Sunday, you fancy going to watch a game of football, please do so. And there will also be this stream live. Do you get a commission for this plug? You can do, but you'll be taking it away from the charity. So if you really want it...
Wow, trying to take away from charity. Wow.
I know. I'm disgusted to call you a brother. Anyway, championship squad, though, it won't be, because as time goes on, we'll make more moves, and it will be fine. Like, all squads are championship squads until they're not anymore, right? Will they have pushed this deal through so quickly if there hadn't been such a backlash from fans after the latest YEP article? Right. There will
I don't think they really give a shit.
No. And there will 100% have been the bid already in, right? There's no way on earth that they were just like, yeah, but Dave's been mad at us about our transfer strategy in the comment section of the Yorkshire Evening Post. So I really, really, really think that we should actually put a bid in now. No, it will have already been in progress. It just takes time to accept offers and bids and things. Like, these things happen. And the fact that David Onstein is finding out about it now means that there isn't that much time since yesterday evening's article for things to have sort of... I was trying to think of a word I was after there, and it isn't the word chondered over, but that's the word that came to mind. Trundled, maybe?
Trundled, yeah, rather than chundered, because I don't think people are throwing up everywhere, in all honesty.
No, it's a slightly better vibe. And the last one that I had tagged was, I think all three promoted teams are buying well. It wouldn't surprise me if all three stayed up. The way that I look at last season, with everyone saying that the three up will be the three down, Leicester lost Dewsbury Hall and their own manager before the start of the season. Ipswich had a squad that was effectively still a League One squad, and they added to it to prepare for the Premier League by adding Championship players. So obviously they went down. And Southampton were just a shit show all season long. that's going
They
to
had
happen.
a manager that refused to bend a knee at all. And, unfortunately, he was thinking that he was the next Vincent Kompany, but Vincent Kompany at least had played at the actual very top level and had achieved the majority that you can achieve as a player, whereas Russell Martin hadn't. So the arrogance that went to Russell Martin's head was absolutely astounding. And also Southampton just love sacking managers. Like it makes them happy. I think it gives them a warm, fuzzy feeling inside because the amount of managers that they've sacked over the last 3 seasons, 3 seasons. I think they're up to like 6 now or something because they did 4 in the season that we were in and then 5 and then 6. Yeah, I'm sure by the end of last season they'd sacked 6 managers in 3 seasons.
That's madness. That's
Well, they had 4. They had 4 managers in the season that we went down.
I mean, to be fair, in that season we kind of had 5.
Yeah, I know we did, but obviously we've then kept Farker for 2 complete seasons. So, and then they had obviously Russell Martin, and then they sacked the guy that they got in before the end of the season as well. So they'd had 6 managers in 3 seasons. And they haven't got the same level of player to sell like they did last time because they had Ward Prowse, they had was it Romeo Lavia that they'd got from Man City that we were in for at the same time when we got JB. They got Lavia when we got JB at the exact same time, and we obviously wanted Lavia. But so they don't have the same level of players to sell. So they're going to be in a financially obscure situation this season as well when you take into the amount of manager like compensation that they will have had to pay over the last 3 years as well. So I wouldn't want to be Southampton, but they have just got that the English/German manager that was in the French league, wasn't he? Yeah,
the one that's the meme. Yeah,
because he didn't have an actual. He kept on being fined every game, didn't he? Because he didn't have the correct.
That was the meme, but I think there was a certain point where it just stopped being what was going on. I think it took him a little while to get the right coaching badges, and he had a coaching badge, but not the right one, and all that kind of stuff. But eventually he sorted it out. But the internet just sort of kept running with it. So
yeah, well, that's fair enough. That's because obviously everything that you hear on the internet's real. So I just got kind of sucked into that.
Everything on the internet is real, and I'm trying to think of a mad conspiracy theory that I should have thought of that before.
Put out into the ether to try and create your own little truma.
Everything that you read on the internet is true, and Joe Wainman is not in fact bald, it's a bald cap. He just did it because he wanted to fit in with the rest of 90% of Leeds United YouTube.
When's your bald cap coming out?
Look, I said that the kits were arriving later. I didn't say that it didn't include headgear, so there's a dozen bald caps in there. Oh, dear. Right, hang on. I've lost the chat. Ramsdale and Dibbling. I am in a weird spot with Ramsdale, right? And I want to sort of get your opinion on this because we've gone adrift from Longstaff. But we've gone adrift from Longstaff in a quite interesting direction of why do a lot of people have such varying views on English footballers? Because Longstaff, I think, is underhyped because he's English. Because as you mentioned, the Longstaffinho thing. Ramsdale, I think, along with Pope, get relatively overhyped compared to the equivalent players on the continent because they're English names that people know.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know if I'd chuck 25 million quid at him, which a lot of people are sort of saying that we should do. I think that's
Ramsdale or Pope?
Ramsdale, I think.
Absolutely not. I've always said I don't want Ramsdale at all. Keep him away from the club. He's not bad, but he wasn't bad in an Arsenal team that were going for the league, and he still conceded stupid shots. And you put those shots and you put Meslier in goal, and you know that I have been a thank you Meslier, goodbye Meslier person for quite a while. But even I think that if you put Meslier in that goal and he lets in those exact same goals, not a chance in hell would anybody want to sign him. So I just don't think he's worth it. His stats are not good. He goes missing literally as well. You know, like he spent quite a bit of last season not playing for Southampton. And I'm sorry, but I want somebody who is mentally, physically, and capably here for us. I want a fresh start with somebody. I either want somebody who's had a chance in the Premier League and has been let down by other factors, or I want somebody who hasn't been here and therefore we can kind of mold him into our Premier League player, if that makes sense. I don't want somebody who already has a reputation in the Premier League, because we need everybody firing on all cylinders, and it's our defence that are going to be attacked the most. And I love the defensive signings that we've made so far this season, and to sign somebody who has got a relatively poor record when you look at shots faced versus shots saved, it doesn't match up with the same vibe that the other players are bringing in. You know, strong, sturdy, reliable, no shit kind of thing. Whereas Ramsdale worked in a better team because the players around him were better and the type of football was less defensive and more attacking. We can't realistically expect to be playing super beautiful football. It's going to be more difficult to watch this year. And I actually think it's not necessarily going to be more difficult, because some of the games that we played last year were very defensively structured and sound, and therefore boring. But we smothered opposition, so we didn't have to score stupid amounts of goal. Like under Bielsa, we had to outscore them. There was no other choice. You know, very rarely did we, you know, yes, we did win quite a few games 1-0 in the Championship, but when it came to the Premier League, we had to outscore people. You know, that was the way that we did things. And we saw how physically, emotionally, mentally, and kind of tactically exhausting that was for everybody in the end. So yeah, I don't want Longstaff. I would have had Pope, not Longstaff, Ramsdale. It's all these English people. I'm just not used to talking about all these English names. They confuse me. They all sound the same. But yeah,
woke nonsense. That's all I can say. Just to quickly address a thing that was said by Sean a couple of minutes ago, because Sean, as always, has had some incredible takes. There's games where they aren't involved. Sean, it's a goalkeeper in the Premier League for a newly promoted side. There will not be games where they're not involved. This is going to be very one way. It's going to be a horror show for a lot of weeks. And I will promise you right now, there will not be a single match where we don't concede a shot on target. That's not going to happen at any point. So there won't be any opportunities for them to just not be involved and have a chill, and it's nice and relaxing and all that sort of vibes and stuff. But anyway, I'm going to do one more little plug for the charity match before hopping over to Questionsy Corner for like 5 minutes, because Evie can't go for too long because she has a hole in her body. Specifically surgical. She's not been stabbed. But yeah.
I don't know. I did go over to Manchester. You know, wear a Leeds kit. It's never a good idea.
Bad idea. But if you perchance are not yet subscribed to the channel, there's a button down there that says subscribe on it. And for every subscriber that I've got at full time during the charity match, I will donate another 1p to Prostate Cancer UK. That sum is currently at 65-ish quid off the top of my head. So with one click, you can A, make me poorer, and B, give to charity. So that's a win-win, I think, especially for those that might disagree with me consistently or not like me. But yeah, congratulations on the not getting stabbed. And I'm going to take us over to one of our favourite spots, being Questions Corner. So if anyone's got any questions, whack them in the chat and we'll answer them for the next 5-ish minutes, if that's okay. If your insides won't be spilling to become outsides at any point soon.
No, everything's fine. I just remembered I can't really laugh because the whole it hurts to laugh and things. So I'm trying to remain very stoic type of thing. Yeah, and
stoic and firm,
somber.
grumpy. Yeah. I'm not gonna go answering that one, erratic. No. It's more like erotic, am I right? Hey. I've completely lost what I was going to say. Yeah, in the initial version of planning this stream, it was going to be something along the lines of we would be as like deadpan as feasibly possible and see how long it took for Evie to break. So it'd be like along the lines of Leeds United have completed the signing of Sean Longstaff. It is expected to be more than £12 million, as the last bid was £12 million. Evie, what are your views on this move?
And that's why I didn't do it in the end, because I am actually a child and I can't not laugh at silly things. So yeah.
Silly things are the more fun things, and anyone that's too sensible, grow up, because sensible isn't the more fun way of doing things. In terms of the questions, I'm going to get you to answer this first one. Can't get to the game. Can I donate?
Absolutely. You can donate. I'm presuming you just need to click on the same link and you'll be able to find a way to donate to the link. So please look in the description box below and you'll be able to find a way to donate. Any donation, no matter how small or how, large, is very generous and will be greatly appreciated. It is a fantastic cause. Prostate cancer is something that is close to both Joe's heart and my heart. So yeah, please donate. It's something that needs to be spoken about more, and men struggle with speaking about lots of things and anything that involves anything down south region, unless it's an actual Robin Cock type of joke. They struggle talking about. So please donate. Fantastic cause. And yeah, you don't even have to turn up, but watch the stream, because obviously any stream revenue will all be going towards the cause as well. So you can literally donate simply by sitting on your backside and watching the entire stream.
That's a good way of putting it. Who would you like to see come in next? I am going to start us off, and I'm going to say that I don't want this to be our only signing, obviously, because that would be stupid. But I want to see Manor Solomon come back.
Yeah, but I genuinely think if we get him, I think he'll be a last signing. And I'm okay with that. I said that earlier on. I'm sure I said that on Joe Wayman's stream, that I'm okay with him coming in last because he knows the club, he knows the team, he knows the football, he knows the ground, he knows the fans. So I'm more than happy to just say, yeah, that's fine. We already know he can just start from last season and, drop him into the team. So I've got no problem with him being the last signing. And I still think that he will come back, because I think that Spurs are going down a different direction, and I think that he would have to fight too many people, whereas he already knows that realistically he does start for this team. So he doesn't have anything to prove. He's had his most successful season as well. He's played his most amount of minutes under Farker and at Leeds United. So I think he will come back. I'll be disappointed if he doesn't, because again, I think that we have so many people in this team. We're like a team of misfits in kind of, you've got Dan James, you've got Ampadu, you've got Rodon, you've got potentially Solomon, that have a point to prove in the Premier League in terms of they've played, but they haven't necessarily been given the chance. They weren't under the right management at the right team, etc., etc. So yeah, I like that kind of underdog vibe. I think it really, that kind of thing, I think unites players and the fan base, because we wanted the players under Bielsa, who the majority of them who got promoted were not Premier League players, but we rallied behind them. And I think that we'll do it again, because a lot of these people weren't successful or hadn't even had a chance in hell of playing in, the Premier League before Bielsa. So yeah, I would like Solomon to come back, but equally, I'm not. It was the same with Firpo. I would have been okay if we'd have signed him again, but actually, I am now in a happy place because we can now completely romanticize Firpo, and he will be forever. Like, the image of him, sat on the ground at Plymouth with the trophy in between his legs, the image of him kind of on the armchair in the yellow kit for, when they launched the yellow kit. All of these kind of images will forever be synonymous with a fantastic season and a player during that season that was fantastic. So we don't have to view horror show Firpo anymore. We just get to think of him as Firpo in the Championship.
There was a certain intriguing vibe about horror show Firpo sometimes though. Anyway, is it going to rain on Sunday? Will I need a cagoule? For a brief answer on that, I'm having to borrow a gazebo from my mum to cover one of the cameras, so it's looking like probably. Thank you very much, Andrew, for the donation to the Creators Cup. That's massively appreciated. For future donations, for anyone that is watching, please do so via the website rather than via YouTube. YouTube takes a Born Leeds. No, that was horrible timing. Thank you for the £10 super sticker thing, though. But YouTube takes a 40% cut, whereas the website only takes the PayPal fees, which is something like 2%. So that's a way more effective way of giving to the charity. This is hilarious to write on a stream about a transfer being borderline confirmed. This is why a lot of people don't enjoy doing things on the internet, because of people like you being horrible. And again, thank you, Born Leeds, and thank you, Baby Zebra, for renewing your membership. That's massively appreciated. We'll finish on a nice, positive, vibesy question. What's your favourite Bielsa era player?
Gosh, that's really difficult. That's really difficult. I loved Alioski because he was just crazy. He was just an absolute lunatic. I loved Click for the same. I loved the spicy side of Click and the kind of shithousery and Clickhousery. I like a bit of attitude. That's a really difficult question, because as well, you've then got Calvin, because that's where he played his best football. That's how he got the best out of Calvin. It's how he got his England call-ups and everything under Bielsa. Oh, gosh, you could ask me that 3 different times and I would give you 3 different answers, because of how much that team emotionally still resonates with me. But I would go for the fun element. I'd go Alioski, because I don't think there's anybody like Alioski.
I mean, there is. You just need to find crack addicts. I I think I'm gonna go a little bit different. I'm gonna go Rafinha because I know he wasn't here for like the earliest of the Bielsa era, but I think he was sort of the shining example of what the Bielsa era could be at its best. And the fact that
He was the most talented.
Yeah.
But he wasn't my favourite. But no, I agree. If you'd have surrounded Rafinha with players of a similar level, then you add Bielsa into that mix. That team could have been incredible.
What? Sorry, what are you saying about Pat Bamford? 17 goals in the Premier League. How dare you? Anyway, whatever. Just to slightly correct myself, YouTube takes 30% of Super Chat revenue, but that's still quite a lot. So, all right, in that case, fine. Screw you, Sean. It's Bamford. Is that what you hear? Pat Bamford. You hear that? Hear that, Sean? It's Patrick Bamford. He's still our best
You
number
mean
9.
you mean Muscles Bamford?
Big Boy Bamford.
Please don't ever say Big Boy Bamford
Maybe
again.
Maybe that.
That's made me.
Anyway.
That's made me and my stitches hurt.
I'm sorry. Anyway, thank you for popping on, Evie. Have you got anything that you would like to plug at any point?
No, not at the minute. Not at the minute. I'm sure I will be back soon. It's just sitting at a chair is quite difficult at the moment. So luckily I have a reclining sofa. So that's been where I have made that's where I've spent most of my time recently. So yeah, sitting and recording has been challenging tonight, but it has been worthwhile because it's been a good chat.
I would like to apologise for any pain that has been caused throughout the stream.
Oh, that really sounds like a disclaimer, like on terms and conditions apply.
And I would like to absolutely not apologise for any people who think I have bad takes in this stream, because I will keep shouting the words Patrick Bamford if anyone challenges me. Anyway, hope you all enjoyed. If you did, please pop a like on the stream. It's very, very close to 200, which I've just noticed now, but it'd be massively appreciated if you could do so. Subscribe if you haven't yet as well, because as mentioned earlier, every subscriber is basically you click once and then 1p goes to Prostate Cancer UK from my bank account. So it's win-win-lose, but the lose is me. So go for it. It'd be great.
Come on, everybody, subscribe. Make Joe B the biggest loser on the internet.
Hey. Yeah, I already am, but
I wasn't going to say anything.
It's not funny when I insult myself, is it?
Just pitiful.
And if you like, you can become a channel member as well. It's $2.99 a month. You get videos and stuff early, and all of the channel membership revenue for this month is also going towards the charity match, but specifically the pot of organising things rather than the going to prostate cancer pot, because organising a charity match is expensive, man. It's crazy. Anyway, hope you all enjoyed, and we will see you later.